Right, so this is biology, and if you're new to this channel, subscribe for more videos like this. So the first question is saying, the diagram shows two cells. Which labeled part might contain chloroplasts? For you to choose which part is going to contain chloroplast here, you need to identify where chloroplast is found. So chloroplasts are found in plants. So this one is a structure of a plant cell, and this one is a structure of an animal cell. So it can't be found in an animal cell. So structure B is called the vacuole or the cell sap. So the chloroplast can be found at A, which means the answer here is just going to be A. Question 2. Diffusion occurs between the two solutions shown. So we have the membrane permeable to glucose and water at this point here. And we have the solutions. So we have the same volume, which is 10 centimeters cubic, but the percentage of glucose here is different. So here we are having 10% and here we are having 2% of glucose solution. Now the question is saying, what is the final concentration of glucose solution in each region? So in each region we are going to have 12% when they mix up. So it's more like 10% plus 2%. So 10% plus 2%, we are going to get 12%. That is what we are going to have here. So the answer here is just going to be D. The next one is saying, the diagrams show how a cell appears under the microscope at the start of an experiment and after it has been placed in a dilute solution of salt for 5 minutes. So when you talk of a dilute solution of salt, which means it is having a lower concentration, because something which is diluted, it is going to have lower concentration. In short, a dilute solution is more like somehow distilled water. So we have the start of an experiment, and at the end of an experiment, as you can see, the size of a plant cell here is just normal. Now at the end of an experiment, a plant cell has gained water by osmosis. So the question is saying, which statement explains what happens? So here, the cell is going to gain water by osmosis, or the water are going to enter the cell by osmosis. So we have the answer, which is C. Water enters the cell by osmosis. The next one. The diagram shows a section through a leaf. So a leaf is an organ, or an example of an organ. So the entire leaf is represented by ara. So ara is an organ. The question is saying, which is an organ and which is a tissue? Now, since ara is an organ, which means P is going to be the tissue. So the final answer here is just going to be C. The next one. The diagram shows two different cells. So we have an animal cell and the plant cell here. Which feature do they both have? So they both have cell membrane, not cell wall, or central vacuum. This one here is the central vacuum, but an animal cell doesn't have a central vacuum. What you can see from an animal cell here, it is just a nucleus. So the answer here is just going to be A, which is the cell membrane. The next one. The diagram shows apparatus which can be used to demonstrate osmosis. So we have grass tube 1 and grass tube 2. Now in grass tube 1, we are having a very concentrated sucrose solution. And in grass tube 2, we are having a concentrated sucrose solution, which means the solution inside the grass tube 1 is more concentrated than the solution inside the grass tube 2. And also we have the water inside the beaker, and also the selectively semi-permeable membrane. So the question is saying, after 1 hour, what would happen to the liquid level in the glasses, in the glass tubes? So we have liquid level in glass in tube 1. So what is going to happen in tube 1 or in glass tube 1 is that the water molecules are going to enter the glass tube 1 by osmosis, right? As the result, the level is going to increase, which means in glass tube 1, the level is going to increase. Then when it comes to glass tube 2, you are going to find that the level of solution is going to decrease or fall. This is because the solution inside glass tube 1 is more concentrated compared to the solution of water and also the solution inside what? Glass tube 2. As a result, water or the solution inside glass tube 2 can leave and enter glass tube 1, or the water molecules can move from the beaker into glass tube 1. So the answer here is just going to be C. So it is going to rise, and in tube 2 it is going to fall. The next one. The diagrams represent an enzyme, molecule, and its substrate. Which diagram shows these molecules after they are heated to 100 degrees Celsius? So enzymes are produced in living organisms and they work in living organisms. Now one thing that you need to know is that the body temperature or the normal body temperature of a person, it is 37 degrees Celsius. So above 37 or 40 or 42 degrees Celsius, an enzyme is going to undergo what we call denaturalization. So denaturalization is the process by which the active site of an enzyme is disturbed. So the active site of an enzyme, it is just this space here where the substrate binds. That's the active site. So now when an enzyme undergoes denaturalization, the active site of an enzyme is going to be disturbed such that the substrate can't be accepted on the active site. So as you can see here, we have this one here, which is the substrate, and this one is here is an enzyme. Now here they are saying this enzyme has been heated to 100 degrees Celsius, which means the enzyme has undergone what we call denaturalization, which means the active site has been disturbed. So the answer here is just going to be C, because this site here has been disturbed, as you can see, and the shape of the substrate is not suiting with the shape of an active site. So the answer here is just C. The next one. So this question even came in 2023 for internal. The question is saying, the diagram shows a joint between two bones in the human arm. Now what you need to know is that this one here is called the humerus. So this one is called the humerus. Then here on top we have the radius. We have the radius like this. Now what you need to know is that ulna is longer than the radius. Ulna is longer than the radius. And the joint which exists here is what we call the hinge joint, not the socket joint or ball and socket joint. This joint here it is called the hinge joint. The reason why it is called the hinge joint, this is because it allows movement on one plane, right? So if this one here is the radius, and this one here is the ulna. So let's see the question. What collectively describes the joint? So we have C and D, which is having the hinge joint. So let's start with C. A hinge joint between humerus and radius? No. This is because here we don't have this radius here. We just have the ulna down. So it is the hinge joint between the humerus and the ulna. So the answer here is just going to be D. The next one. Which substances are needed in the diet to prevent leakage? So when a person is lacking calcium and vitamin D, he or she is going to suffer to a deficiency disease, which is leakage. So which means the answer here is just going to be B, which is calcium and vitamin D. Let's come to the next one. Diagram 1 represents some red blood cells in a solution of the same water potential as plasma. So when you talk of water potential, this one is just the tendency of water molecules to move from one region to another. Then diagram 2 shows the same cells after treatment. So this one here is the normal structure of red blood cells. Then after the treatment, the red blood cells loses water by osmosis and shrink or linkers. The question, which solution has been used in diagram 2 and in which direction has water moved. Which solution has been used in diagram 2 and in which direction has water moved. So the solution which has been used in diagram 2, it is lower water potential, right? It is just lower water potential, because if you have a solution in a beaker which is lower water potential, so in terms of lower water potential, it is just a solution with higher concentration. Then when you talk of higher water potential, it is a solution with lower concentration. Now, since when you talk of lower water potential, it is the solution with higher concentration. So when you place a red blood cell in lower water potential, it is going to lose water by osmosis. As a result, the water molecules are going to leave the red blood cells or red blood cell by osmosis. So this is what is going to happen. As the result, a red blood cell or red blood cells are going to shrink or wrinkles in this way. Now, to choose the answer here, the direction of water, it is out of the cell, right? It is out of the cell, and the solution, it is lower water potential. So in terms of lower water potential is same as the higher concentration, and the direction of movement here is just it's out of the cell. That's the reason why you can see the size of the red blood cells has been reduced. So the answer here is just going to be D. The next one. Which structure is the duodenum? Which structure is the duodenum? So structure D is called the esophagus. Then structure A is called the stomach. Structure C is called the duodenum, and structure B is called the colon or the large intestine. So the answer here is just going to be C. Then the next one. The diagram shows part of the human digestive system. Which organ produces hydrochloric acid? So the hydrochloric acid is produced by the stomach, which is represented by A. So the answer here is just going to be A. Structure B is called the pancreas, and structure D is called the small intestine, and structure C is called the large intestine. The next question. Which part of a balanced diet is missing if a person develops leakage? It is just vitamin D or calcium. So the answer here is just going to be D. That's all. The diagram shows part of the human urinary system. Where is urea most concentrated? So here they are talking about urea. They are not talking about urine. So they are talking about urea, not urine. This one, not. So urea is concentrated in tube B. When you talk of tube D, this one here is going to have the most concentrated urine, not urea. So the answer here is just going to be B. The next one. In an experiment to investigate phototropism, a plant shoot is grown with light coming from one side only. After 2 days, in which region has the greatest rate of growth occurred? So the growth in plants is controlled by the hormone called the auxins or auxin. So what happens here is that auxins are dominated by excess heat or temperature. So if this one here is the light, and the direction of light is from this one up to this direction, which is the west side. So if auxins are at B, they are going to be denatured, which means the auxins can't be at B. They are going to be at the illuminated part or the shadow part, which is C. So once they are at C, on this side here, the auxins are going to promote the growth. So the answer here is just going to be C. The next one. The diagram shows the elbow joint in 2 different positions. So we have this position, this position is called the bending of the elbow joint, and this one here is more like the straightening of the elbow joint. So what happens to the muscles to change the position of the elbow joint as shown above? So what is going to happen here is that this one is going to contract and this one is going to relax when the elbow joint or the arm is straightened. X is going to contract, so X is going to contract and Y is going to relax. So the answer here is just going to be C. The next one. The diagram shows a section through a human tooth. Which part contains blood vessels? So we have A, which is called the enamel, the outer part or the hardest part. And B is called the dentine. And C is called the pulpy cavity. Then D is going to be the answer. That is where now you are going to find the blood vessels for at D. The next one. The diagram shows part of the alimentary canal and associated organs. So we have the esophagus, the liver, and also we have wine. Okay, and also the pancreas, which is this one, and the stomach here. Now the question is saying what will be the effect of a blockage in tube Y? So what is going to happen if tube Y is blocked? You're going to find that bile is not going to be released into the alimentary canal. As the result, fats won't be emulsified because the function of the bile is to emulsify the fats. So the answer here is just going to be A. Fats will not be emulsified or won't be broken down into smaller droplets. The next one. The diagram shows a dialysis machine. So we have the filter and bubble trap to stop air bubbles getting into the patient's blood system. Then here we have the dialysis fluid in the blood and also dialysis fluid. At X, we are having dialysis fluid out, then dialysis tubing, then here we have pump to push blood through the dialysis machine. So what is going to happen when the blood enters the dialysis machine? Urea is going to be filtered out and the clean blood is going to enter the person. So the question is saying which substance would not be present in a sample of the dialysis fluid taken from point X. So what is not going to be present here is just going to be urea molecules, which is D. The next question. The diagram shows a section through a fluid containing a seed. So we have one which is called a radicle, and two it is called a cotridon. Then we have three which is called the pericarp. Then the last one which is four, it is called a tester. So the answer, the question is saying, what are the labeled parts? So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So one is called the radicle, and two is called, so one is called the radicle, then two is called cotridon, then three is called a pericarp, and then four is called the tester. So the answer here is just going to be C. The next one. The apparatus shown is used to make alcohol by anaerobic respiration. So during anaerobic respiration, an organism is going to be reacted to glucose. So an organism can be represented by X, which may be yeast or fungus, like that. And what is going to be produced is alcohol and carbon dioxide, which is the gas. Yes, it's alcohol and carbon dioxide, which is the gas. So the apparatus shown is used to make alcohol by anaerobic respiration. So we have gas R, which is called D. Since this one is anaerobic respiration, which means gas R is going to be carbon dioxide, which is CO2. Then we have organism P and solution Q. So solution Q always, it should be starch or glucose. So we have R, which is going to be carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is here. Then solution Q always should be starch or glucose. So it's going to be glucose. Then P, an organism P, is going to be fungus. So the answer here is going to be just C. The next one. The diagrams show 4 different fluids. So we have this one, and this one, and this one. Okay. So the question is saying which two fluids are dispersed by animals. So this one is dispersed by self, and this one can be dispersed by animals. So we have this one by animals, and this one here can be dispersed by wind. And this one here can be dispersed by animals because of the hooks that it has. So it's just 2 and 4. 2 and 4, it is just 2 and 4 is just what? C. The next one. The diagram shows a villus. The arrows show the direction of flow within vessels associated with the villus. Which vessel carries blood to the liver? So to know which blood carries, to know which vessel carries blood to the liver, you need to know the function of this part here, which is called the rectum. So the function of the rectum is to transport fatty acid and glycerol. So fatty acid and glycerol, they don't go direct to the liver. Then also have the blood capillaries. So these blood capillaries, they transport what we call the glucose and amino acids. Now these glucose and amino acids, they go direct into the liver, right? They go direct into the liver. Excess amino acids, they undergo what we call deamination to produce urea. So which means the part which is going to be dilated, or which is going to transport, or which is going to carry blood to the liver, it is just going to be what? D. Because this villus here is found where? It is found in the lining of the small intestine. So once the blood capillaries absorb what we call glucose and amino acids, these they are going to go to the what? To the liver, according to the direction of the flow of blood here. They are starting from A up to D. So which means D is going to take glucose and amino acids to the what? To the liver. So D is the answer. The next one. Some species of plants can reproduce by producing bubbles. A diagram shows a bulb. So this one is the onion, or any bulb apart from the onion. Yes, so the bulb is produced by one parent plant and will grow into a new plant. Which statement about the new plant is correct? So you're going to find that the parent is going to be genetically identical to the parent and is going to be produced by asexual production. So the answer is just going to be C. It is genetically identical. When I say identical, which means the parent or the daughter cell is going to look exactly as the parent. And they are going to be produced by what? Asexual reproduction. When you talk of sexual reproduction, it is going to involve the fusion of the male gamete. A young male seedling is grown from a seed. The seedling is placed on its side and left in a room with a light source for several days. So we have the direction of light. Yes, as you can see, it's from this side to this side. Then we have the shoot, we have the root and the shoot. So shoot, they respond positively to light, or positively phototropism. And roots, they respond positively to hydropism. What will happen to the young shoot? What is going to happen to this young shoot here? This young shoot is going to respond toward light. Now you're going to find that according to the options that we have been given here, we have the auxins. So the auxins, since the auxins are denatured by excess heat or temperature, which means they are going to be concentrated down here, right? They are going to be concentrated down here, thereby causing the elongation of the shoot to grow upward like this. So they are going to cause the elongation of the shoot to grow upward like this. So the correct answer here is just going to be A. So auxin becomes concentrated in the lower part of the shoot, and the shoot grows toward the light, which is option A. The next question. Which diagram shows a cell from the liver? So A is called the sperm cell, so it is not from the liver. Then B is called the red blood cell, which is not from the liver. Then C is called an animal cell. So this one can come from the liver cell or from any tissue cell. Then D is the muscle cell. So the answer is just going to be C, because D is the C qualifies to be the answer. The next one. The diagram shows a section through the eye. So we have up and down. We have P, which is called the ciliary muscle. Then R, which is called the suspensor ligament. Now, when the person looks down and focuses on their mobile phone, what is the state of the structures P and R? So what is going to happen here is that P is going to contract, right? And R is going to be loosen. So the answer here is just going to be M. The next question. The diagram shows a section through a human joint. Which part contains a fluid that reduces friction? So it is C. C, it is called the fluid. So C is called the synovial fluid. That is found at C. It is called the synovial fluid. It also supplies nutrients to the bone apart from preventing or reducing friction. It also supplies nutrients to the bones or to the bone. The next one. The diagram shows a section through a leaf. So we have P, which is called the cuticle. So P is called the cuticle. Then Q is called the xylem. Then as for R, as you can see, R points at this structure here, which is called the chloroplast. Then S is called the stoma. So the correct answer here is just going to be B. P being a cuticle, Q being the xylem, and then R being the chloroplast, and then the last one is just going to be the stoma. The stoma is just the space where the gaseous exchange takes place. The next one. The diagram shows a section through the brain. So we have part W, which is called the cerebellum. Then part X, it is called the cerebellum. Then part Y, it is called the medulla oblongata. So it is called the medulla oblongata. Then as for Z, it is called the hypothalamus. So the function for the cerebellum, this cerebellum here, it is the central for reasoning or for thinking. Central for reasoning or thinking. Then part X, which is called cerebellum, it is the part for coordination or balance. That's the function. Then as for Y, this one here controls the heart rate and breathing rate. Then as for Z, it controls osmoregulation and also temperature in short. So Z controls temperature. So which regions control balance, heart rate, and temperature? So the region which controls balance here, it is X. So we have X here. And then which controls heart rate, it is just the medulla oblongata, which is Y. Then temperature, it is just the hypothalamus, which is Z. So the answer is just going to be B. The next one. Diagram shows the arrangement of blood vessels in the uterus wall and placenta of a pregnant woman. So we have 1, and the direction of blood flow is like this. And then we also have 2, the direction of blood flow is like this. So we have the space filled with mother's blood. We have the baby's blood, the umbilical cord, the developing baby. Okay. Then the question is saying which will increase in concentration in the blood as it flows from 1 to 2. So the mother is going to supply oxygen and glucose, or the nutrients needed by a baby. Then the baby, inside the baby, respiration is going to occur and carbon dioxide is going to be produced out. So at 2, carbon dioxide is going to increase. So the answer is just going to be B. From 1 to 2, carbon dioxide is going to increase. The next one. The life cycle of amphibians includes both sexual and asexual reproduction. So we have the offspring here, parent, reproduction, X, also have the offspring here. Right. So for this offspring to be produced by reproduction, X, which means here it was asexual reproduction. So it was just asexual reproduction. Then, for this offspring at this point here to be produced, it was produced by sexual reproduction, because here we have the male parent and here we are having the female parent, and they are meeting here, which is the fertilized egg, reproduction Y. So at reproduction Y, we are going to have sexual reproduction, because there is a fusion of a male gamete and the male gamete here. So now which statement is correct? So we have X. X shows asexual reproduction, which produces genetic variation in the offspring. So when you talk of genetic variation, it's just a difference in the characteristics between the offsprings. So when you talk of asexual reproduction, the offspring are going to look exactly as their parent. So at X, there is no genetic variation here. Then at Y, it is asexual. At Y, it is sexual. So because of asexual, Y is not going to be there. B is not going to be the answer. And then as for C, X shows asexual reproduction, which produces genetically identical offspring. Yes, C is going to be the answer. So when you talk of genetically identical offsprings, which means the offsprings which are going to be produced at reproduction X are going to look similar or exactly as the parent here. Right? That's what it means when you talk of genetically identical. And they are going to be produced by what? Asexual reproduction. So the answer here is just going to be what? C. The next one. The diagram represents part of a leaf. A part of a leaf which arrows show translocation and transpiration. So transpiration is the process by which a leaf loses water through the stomata. So it loses water through the stomata. Now the direction. This one is showing that the water molecules are entering, or any gas is entering, like carbon dioxide, like that. So this one is not showing transpiration. This 4 here is showing what? Transpiration, because the water vapor is coming out of the leaf. So we have translocation, which is 4. Then let's come to, let me say transpiration. So we have transpiration, which is 4. Let's come to translocation. So translocation is just going to be represented by 3, right? Translocation is going to be represented by what? By 3. Because this one here, or these cells here on top here, they are representing the palisade cells. And in the palisade cells, that is where now a process of photosynthesis occurs. So once it occurs, you are going to find that glucose is going to be produced out, and once it is produced, it is going to be transported in form of sucrose and stored to other organs, like the roots. Okay. Then as for 1, it is represented by water molecules, which are used during the process of what? Which are used during the process of photosynthesis. In short, at 3, these 3 here is representing the what? The phloem, and 1 is representing the xylem because of the direction here. Water molecules are needed during the process of photosynthesis. So the answer here is just going to be C. Now let's come to paper 2 biology. So we have the first question, which is saying figure 5.1 is a diagram of a cell carrying out one type of respiration. The arrows show the direction of movement of the substances involved in respiration. in this type of cell. So we have oxygen here and substance A. Apart from oxygen and substance A, we also have substance B and carbon dioxide. Now since this one is a cell, so we have question Roman numeral number 1, which is saying, state the type of respiration shown by figure 5.1. So there are two types of respirations. So we have aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. So during aerobic respiration, when it occurs in cells, since here they have specified in cells, during aerobic respiration, glucose is going to be reacted to oxygen. And what is going to be produced is what? Carbon dioxide plus what? Water. Which means this type of respiration is called aerobic respiration. Now, when talk of anaerobic respiration, when it occurs in cells, what is going to be produced is what? Lactic acid. Lactic acid and water. Right? What is going to be produced is what? Lactic acid and water. But when anaerobic respiration occurs in other living organisms, like during brewing or during the manufacturing of alcohol, what is going to be produced is what? Alcohol and carbon dioxide. Right? So the type of respiration here is just going to be aerobic respiration. So aerobic respiration. Then let's come to Roman numeral number 2. It is saying, identify the substances involved in respiration that are represented by the letters A and B in figure 5.1. Since this one here is aerobic respiration, which means A, during aerobic respiration, glucose is going to be reacted with what? Oxygen. And what is going to be produced is what? Carbon dioxide plus what? Water. Which means A is going to be glucose. And B is going to be water. The next question. State the process by which oxygen moves into the cell. State the process by which oxygen moves into the cell. So oxygen moves into the cell by the process of what? Diffusion. State 3 processes that require energy from respiration. So the first one is just going to be cell division. So during cell division, energy is needed. Or for a living organism to carry out cell division, it needs energy from respiration. Then apart from cell division, growth. For you to grow an eye, we need energy from respiration. So growth. Apart from growth, conduction of electrical impulses. So conduction of electrical impulses. Then apart from conduction of electrical impulses, contraction of muscles. Contraction of muscles and so on. The next one. Figure 6.1 is a diagram showing how glucose is used by different organisms. So we have cellulose here, sucrose, starch, alcohol and carbon dioxide, which means this one here is anaerobic respiration because alcohol is being produced and carbon dioxide, which means this one here, it is anaerobic respiration. Then carbon dioxide and water, so which means this one here is what? Aerobic respiration. Then we have lactic acid, which means even this one here is going to be what? Anaerobic respiration now in living cells. This one when manufacturing what? Alcohol. Roman numeral number 1. State the number or numbers from figure 6.1 that identify the processes that release the most energy per glucose molecule. So it is just number what? 3. Why are we saying number 3? This is because this one is what? Aerobic respiration. During aerobic respiration, energy is going to be produced. Okay? Energy is going to be produced. Then take place in yeast cells. Take place in yeast cells, it is just number what? 1. Because during the manufacturing of alcohol, an organism called yeast is going to be used to produce alcohol and carbon dioxide. Roman numeral number 2. State the balanced chemical equation for anaerobic respiration in yeast. So anaerobic respiration in yeast, you're going to, is going to be broken down. So glucose it is C6H12O6. And then what is going to be produced here? It is alcohol, specifically ethanol. So ethanol it is C2H5O plus carbon dioxide, which is CO2. Then we're going to do here, we're just going to add 2 here and also 2 here, so that here we are going to have 6 carbons, and also on this side here, this is 4 plus 2, we are going to have 6, which is balanced. Then we are going to have 12 hydrogens. Even here we are going to have 12 hydrogens, because this 2 here is going to multiply 5, which is 10. Then 2 multiplied by 1, we are going to have 2 plus 10 plus 2, we are going to have 12, so which is balanced. Roman numeral number 3 is of 2 enzymes that are needed to break down starch into glucose in humans. So the first one is to be maltase. So we have the first one, which is maltase. So maltase is going to break down starch into glucose. Okay, so maltase is going to break down starch into maltose, right? And maltose is going to be broken down by what we call the amylase into glucose. So the last one is just going to be amylase. So we have maltase and the amylase. Those are the enzymes which are needed. Roman numeral number 4. State the main use of the molecule cellulose in plants. So cellulose is used to build up the cell wall. So to build up the cell wall. So to build up the cell wall. That's all. The next one. This one is coming from Osmosis. So it is saying, figure 6.1 is a diagram showing the pathway of water into a plant. The arrows show the direction of water molecules. Figure 6.1 is a diagram showing the path of water into a plant. The arrows show the direction of water movement. So we have the soil particle, and then we also have soil water, cell B and cell M. We also have the xylem vessel. Roman numeral number 1. State the name of the cell labeled A in figure 6.1. So the name of cell labeled A, these cells here now, singular, this one here. So this cell here, it is called the root cortex. It is called the root cortex. So root cortex. The root cortex cell. The next one. State the name of cell B and describe how it is adapted for absorption of water. So cell B. The name of cell B, it is just called the root air cell. So the name, root air cell. Then the adaptation, the part that you can see, this part here that you can see here, it is called the elongated outgrowth. So this elongated outgrowth creates this root air cell to have a large surface area for the absorption of water. So we are saying the presence of elongated outgrowth to create large surface area for the absorption of water. So presence elongated outgrowth to create a large surface area for the absorption of water. That's 2 marks. Roman numeral number 3. State the name of the process by which cell B absorbs water. So the answer here is just going to be osmosis. Just going to be osmosis. That was the last one. If you see this video to be useful, share it to your friends and remember to subscribe for more videos like this. It was your tutor Big Jack. See you next time. Peace.